So it looks like none of us is energized with mics. Is that,
Yeah.
we don't have mics. See if I can find the battery.
I can yell all the way across.
Hello, everybody.
Is that you, Sean?
Yep.
Okay, Sean is here, good deal.
Can you hear us, Shauna? Is
Yes, I can hear you guys.
Okay,
Microphones are
good. I
dead.
can hear you. So Teresa, are you there?
I don't see Teresa.
No, she's not on.
I was gonna tell her she can drop off, she's got some things
I'll
pressing.
tell her. I'll just text her.
Okay, you got it. Thank you.
How many batteries does each one take?
2, it looks
Two.
like.
Got it. Think.
Okay, we're trying to get our mics up and running.
It's not your fault, Michaela.
Sure.
But
At
I
least
think our voices are loud enough.
Yeah, I can totally hear you guys fine.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm used to being on the football field and projecting my voice. So I'm good. All right, so since Kim is still visiting, Teresa is getting prepared for visitors. We're busy. So
Yeah, Teresa's got plumbing issues.
on top of that, she has a few other issues besides family coming in. Yeah, okay, so I will call the meeting to order. So,
They're hot.
Jandy. We got it up and running, we're good to go. And we are, yeah, so you're good to do. Okay, yeah, okay, thank you, bye. All right, thanks, Bob. I'm on, I am. All right. So the meeting is now called to order. So did everyone have a chance to read the minutes that, the other day?
Yes.
Okay, great. Shauna,
Yes, yes.
have any additions or corrections to the minutes?
No.
They've been moved to approve minutes. All in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye. All right, so the minutes are passed. And everybody saw the agenda. Anybody have any, change to the agenda? Okay, like we're good to go. Michaela, do you have any citizens online, would like to have a negative comment? Okay, so we can move on. All right, we'll move on with our reports. So our city administrator, Mark Rutgers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't know that I have a specific report. I will just mention to the board, as I've done with the other commissions that I've attended, that we are getting ready to go back into the budget development season. We're accelerating that by approximately this year, and so we should start hearing more about that.
Mark, I can barely hear you.
Is this better? Shauna, can you hear that?
Yes. Yeah.
I was mentioning that we are accelerating our budget calendar by approximately a month this year. And so all of the boards and commissions, as it pertains and is relevant, will start hearing about budget development in the coming weeks. And that's really all the information I have.
Okay, thank you, Mark. I just have one question. Will there be, expectations for input from this particular, board to, when that discussion of budget development, begins?
Well, like in past years, we'll be working with the executive staff and the boards and commissions to the extent that they have input in the budget. The board of trustees does, so we'll be working with you individually on that.
Great, thank you. Okay, we're on to Bob. Friends of the library.
All right. Similar to last month's report, we have 2 major events coming up. Friends Friends of the Library at their last meeting, talked about those events. The first one is this weekend, the book sale. We also bill that as the largest indoor book sale in Liberty Lake, since it's the only indoor book sale in Liberty Lake.
Yeah, probably be.
I actually have to post another, basically posting about it this afternoon. That will be Friday and Saturday. It'll run Friday from noon until 6. It'll run Saturday from 9 until 3. And we are assured we have a full complement of books, DVDs, puzzles, numerous things. And the Friends also, mentioned that they greatly appreciate the fact that the city sends some able-bodied men over so that Brad and I don't have to carry all the boxes from the back room into the tables. But that will be this weekend, and that is moving ahead very well. The second thing that will be happening in July is the Summer Soiree, which is the annual event that's held in co-sponsorship with Liberty Lake Wine Cellars. That event tickets went on sale online through the QR code, and also on any of the posters we have out there. They went on sale last week. We're up to, I haven't checked because I was gone this weekend, but I think we're up to somewhere around 60 tickets sold of the 150 that is our max, because we can only have 150 people at the event. We'll be ramping up the advertising on that after this weekend at book sale. So you'll see a lot of Facebook posts that have my name on, and my wife's graphics doing that. The committee for the Summer Soiree, there's a number of subcommittees. It's moving along. Everything is pretty much locked down. As we talked, we're getting some extra tables. We got a donation of some extra tents, so we can have more tents on the lawn there. We have all of the folks that donate and help the Friends will be recognized in a full page splash ad sometime later this summer. But it would include people like Victory Media, who is renting the chairs for us. Greenstone bought us 4 more, I call them tents, but they're, pagoda kind of things. Everybody chips in, and it's a great event. We will go live with the Gala bid, which is the silent auction that is part of that event. We will go live with that on June 26th, and it'll stay live for basically 2 weeks, just a tad over 14 days. And we're still collecting all of the things. That it looks like this year we'll have somewhere between 20 and 24 items that will be on the silent auction. And then all of this is being promoted. I promoted it as a citizen comment at the last council meeting, but also the members of the Friends of the Library, all individuals signed up to work the city tent at the farmer's market. And we have an A-frame there with a poster with the QR codes for soiree, and also on the other side, information about the book sale. So a lot of things going on. June and July are our 2 busiest months for that, and that's my report.
Thanks, Bob. This is a great event. 60 tickets already, that's a lot, considering we're still a month out. So great event, lots of fun. I hope all the trustees purchase their ticket to attend that event.
Okay, so now we are on to Shauna, City Council.
So make sure I'm not on mute. Okay. I didn't attend the whole city council meeting, but I did attend the part where we were discussing the library ordinance, and I know a number of others from the library board were in attendance, as was Teresa. It came back up for a vote to see if the city council was going to overrule the veto, and that did not pass.
Okay, is that it, Shauna?
That's all I have.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, so next on the agenda is our Mayor Chris. I asked her to join us today to tell us where she sees us going with the ordinance, now that, it has been vetoed and the veto has been, substantiated by the council. And I would just like to say, I believe that, the right decision was made in regards to the veto. And so I'll, give the floor to the mayor.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I don't know how much I really have to share. The next step is up to the council. As you saw in my veto narrative, my suggestion was that each, I hate to say side, each position on the council should put their faith in one person on that position and get together with one or two board members in a smaller group to work through this. I think personally, I think bringing it back to a full council discussion and more meetings with the full board and the full council is a lot of time that people don't have. And I think, honestly, think that more progress will be made with a smaller group. The question is can each position put their faith in that one person they choose or not? And really, that's really what has to happen. So I haven't heard rumblings from either side. So for now, it's silent. So I think we'll all be surprised to see what comes up next. So right now, we are back to 119D that has been in B, sorry, 119B that has been in place for a couple of years now. And so anything that would come back as 119D, since 119C was vetoed and upheld. So that would be the next step. As I mentioned in the council meeting, there are things that were in that version C that still need to be put in place, the council liaison, but there's nothing in my mind preventing the council from appointing somebody to be the liaison until it's formalized, and some other small cleanup things like adding technology and whatnot to the ordinance. But the two main topics with regards to the not banning books language and the policy oversight piece, those are the two that obviously I expect to be addressed again. But again, they cannot bring back the exact same request. It will have to be different in some way.
Thank you, Mayor. Anybody have any questions for Mayor Chris? Shauna?
I don't have any questions. I think everybody on the library board is open to meeting with anyone that the city council wants to appoint, and then we can discuss, who, if we're just doing one or two people on each side or just one on each side, moving forward that way. But like you said, it's in the hands of the city council, so we will wait, I think, until we hear more.
Okay, thank you. Bob?
Yeah, my question would be if a group is formed, a small subgroup, I'm assuming that still has to be handled within the open meeting structure or not?
Only if there are going to be more than 3 council members in attendance. That's why I was suggesting one person from each viewpoint. So that way it would not have, the public could still come. It's not a closed door session, but it would not have to be noticed as a meeting.
So it would be more similar to what Mark put together with that kind of working group,
For the
a
camping.
small version of the working group that he put together on the camping.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that would make sense, that it'd be something like that where, there are individual representatives that are involved, and then we don't get into all of this back and forth and name calling and everything.
Exactly.
Although after sitting through that meeting, I don't know how quickly that dust is gonna settle.
Yeah. So, I think it's a good idea to form a smaller group. I think things can get done more in a small group session. I would prefer to see at least 2 people, from each, entity, get together, only because I believe that, you have, let's take, for example, the city council. If you have one from the 4 that voted for all the changes, you don't have a voice from the other side, and I think that's important to be there. And I think as far as the board is concerned, I don't know, I'm speaking on for myself. Sean and Bob, you can jump in there. I'm not representing all of this, so representing myself, want to be clear. I think that two voices that can present where they're at and help maybe clarify certain things, I think that's always a good idea. But anyway, that would be my suggestion moving forward if this group is formed. And I also believe that maybe the library director should be a part of that as well. And she is obviously here. We have a library director, but our main library director is out on maternity leave. So anyway, that's where I would be coming.
Yeah, agree. If it's two council members, one from each position, maybe one person from the board and then library director. At least to me, that seems like a good balanced group, and maybe having city administrator Mark here oversee it. Sorry, I just want to hold you, Mark.
Yeah. All right.
The only, I mean, I don't disagree with that. I think the idea of one from each position and the library director and somebody from the board makes sense. I'm not sure, trying to read the room, I'm not sure whether or not that works, because there are two positions embedded in the council's viewpoint. And as you said, one is the issue of the books and the book policy, one is the issue of total oversight of the policy. So I'm not sure you could get them to agree to two people, one on each side.
That's true.
And if that's, so I think we have to just wait and see what comes out, because if that comes down to where you've got one that's dealing with policy and one that's dealing with the books, and then you only have one, from the other side, and then on the other side, the other position, you also have one that has an issue about access. And so we've got, if we're at this kind of, tightrope of, do you have everybody? Do you have 6 or do you have 4?
Right. Yeah, I think my thought was one of the 4 and one of the 3. But that's up to the council to decide. That's their next
That's
step
their
to take.
decision.
Yeah, exactly.
I
You
mean,
only
they
make a suggestion.
could decide to do nothing until after November.
And that may be their decision. Yep. All right.
Well, if you don't have anything else from me, I will go ahead and take off since this is your meeting. And I'm just a guest.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor.
Okay, Michaela, you're up.
Hopefully you guys have seen the main report that was sent out to you this week. I'll just quickly report the checkouts, renewals, overdrive downloads, all of that is up from where it was last year. Our patron visits are way up from last year, 4,800 a little over in May this year, so that's great. And a lot of use of our meetings. Is a well-used.
Michaela, is your mic on?
It is. Is that better?
Oh, okay, that's better. Sorry. I know you kind of have to eat it sometimes.
So yes, meeting reviews way up. The other thing I wanted to point out was this month and last month, the library's been doing a lot more outreach. So last month we got into the community, we went to Stepping Stone Academy, Riverbend Elementary School Ski Night, and Guardian Angel Homes. So far this month, we have been to Liberty Lake Elementary School, Green Acres Middle School, Selkirk Middle School, and had some other school visits going on as well. So the Ridgeline has really been good. We kind of talked about the partnership we've been doing with them. I got artwork back from them in May that we're using for our summer reading, so I'll share that with you. It's in the report, but it's really great. We had 2 students who made us posters that we've been using on everything for the library this summer, so it's really awesome. One thing for you guys to know, we revised our collection maintenance guidelines and our inventory guidelines. It used to be that we, over a 3-year period, visited the entire collection. We've revised it so that now we are looking at the entire collection every year. So just a little bit more hands-on instead of spread out. some things to know that are coming up. Besides summer reading program, which starts on June 20th for all ages, there is the Eric Herman Music and Comedy Show on June 22nd at Ridgeline, and a summer STEM camp that was created by our teen volunteers that will run from July 11th to 14th. And I mention it now because we won't meet again before that happens. So just want you guys to know it's coming up. It will be great.
Cool. I have a question about when you said you guys you went to Selkirk and you went to, so when you, like middle school, what kinds of activities do you do with the?
Yeah, it depends. This time of year, what we're usually doing is sitting at lunch and having the kids come talk to us about our summer reading program and about the events going on over the summer. At some of the elementary schools, we've made that part of their STEAM night. A lot of those guys do like a science technology sort of night for the students. So Aaron and I went to one, Aaron and Rebecca went to another one, where we not only talked about the summer reading program, but also brought Legos for, to do STEM activities with the kids while we were there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. So, done with that portion?
I'm done.
Okay, but you're not done.
No.
All right, anybody have any questions about that for Michaela? Besides the one I already had.
None for me.
So now we're on the business. And we're going to,
Can you get closer to the mics? Sorry, Brad, I could barely hear you too.
you could barely hear me.
Now I can hear you.
Okay,
Okay. So interlibrary loan service is a service that the library provides when we don't have an item that somebody wants to read or view or whatever it happens to be, that we also don't necessarily think would be a good addition to the collection. So maybe it's kind of niche, maybe it's really old, whatever the reason is, we will borrow from another library outside of our system. So we've had books come in from like the Library of Congress, New York, Texas, we can get books from other places or other items. Right now, that service is only for Liberty Lake residents. So what we're asking is to possibly expand that to our non-resident users as well. So I'm mostly asking what the board thinks about expanding that service.
okay, so, does everybody understand what Michaela's asking? Sean?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, and Bob?
Yeah, you lost me a little bit. I mean, I know we have the interlibrary with CIN. And then I guess Overdrive or the Washington Anywhere Library is the same kind of thing. It's an interlibrary agreement
Right.
you have access to. And then if I recall correctly, we also have that sharing agreement with the Spokane Library,
Right.
Spokane County Library.
Yeah. This is outside of all of that. So if we can't get things from our partners in Idaho, we can't find it on Overdrive or can't find it on Overdrive for whatever reason. This will, like other libraries, and we participate in this too, we also send things out to other libraries, but they will send them to us for our patrons to borrow, and then we'll return them to their home libraries.
What are the costs associated with expanding the ILF?
Yeah, typically it costs us between $3 and $5 to mail out a book. And we only pay for the part that we mail it back. So the other library will pay to mail it to us. We will pay to mail it back to them.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
And do we have budget to accommodate this?
Yes, we do.
So do we have a policy regarding this? Do we have a written policy regarding our interlibrary loan service and who currently is able to use it?
Yes. Right now, it is not its own specific policy. It's part of our library card eligibility policy. So if you look at that, there is a section that says basic library card, which is residents and property owners in jurisdictions within Washington and Idaho that provide equitable tax support for public library services. And then it says that they are not eligible for interlibrary loans.
Okay, so that would require a change,
Right.
correct?
Mhm.
Okay, so you're asking us to approve a change to that, part of the library card,
Correct.
okay? Or obtaining a library
Right.
card. Got it.
And we do have in our circulation policy a section on interlibrary loan.
Oh, here too.
And it's so patrons may access material not found in its local collections. Resident LLML CIN card holders may request up to 5 book loans at one time. The lending library sets the due dates. Borrowers are responsible for postage or ILL fees from lending libraries, as well as late damaged or overdue fees per the lending library's policies. So, but interested, and our policy also says reciprocal borrowers from Spokane County Library District, the non-resident cardholders may not use the interlibrary loan service.
Right. And that's some of the people who would like to and currently cannot. We get a lot of requests, especially from the Green Acres residents. Yeah.
Okay, so you're asking us, for approval to change that
Mhm.
current policy.
Yeah.
To reflect that it would be open to anyone
To anyone.
that has a card.
Mhm.
And most of those are 99019.
Most of them are
Most of
anyway.
them are.
Mhm.
Okay, so how do we feel about that?
Well, it looks like our policy is that, whoever's asking for that is paying the fee for the mailing of the item or the transport of that item. Is that correct?
Right now, they are not. We're not having anyone, even our own residents do not pay for interlibrary loan service.
Got it. So we probably need to change that in the policy also then.
Very.
I'm all for providing more books to more people in the easiest way possible. And this increases the availability of books to our population that we're serving and the availability of books to others in our expanded community. And given that our library is smaller, I expect we're going to be on the receiving end more than we are on the sending end.
I would agree with you, Sean.
I would too. I think, it sounds like we have to change several policies in a couple of different places.
Sure.
And I think, I just also, once we change it, want to make sure that we're consistent. So I agree with that part of it. I don't want to restrict. I don't know if there are other organizations that we have to, sign an agreement with or whatever. That would be my only question is, do we have to have a letter of understanding, for example, the Coeur d'Alene Library, that's not one you mentioned.
Right.
Yeah.
The only one that we may have to look at is our reciprocal agreement with Spokane County. That's the only one it may affect. Otherwise, it should not affect any of the Idaho libraries or Washington libraries at all.
Because the Idaho ones are in CIN.
Right.
So I don't believe this requires a motion or a vote. So, are we all okay with directing Michaela to go ahead and make those changes in the required policies and then bring them back to us for an approval and a vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
All right.
all right, so you're on. More work.
Good.
Student database.
Okay. Student database is also just a question to you it's in a really preliminary phase right now. There are library systems out there that provide access to their databases, public libraries, that provide access to their databases for students in their school districts using their student ID cards. So what I would like to look into, and I've been asked, especially because we've been visiting schools, and we have been asked by the librarians and teachers at those schools, if that is something we would consider making available to the students in our school district. So opening up those databases for them to use with their school ID.
I'm all for that. and I'll ask for other people's input, but I'm gonna ask this, would that require a separate policy, written policy for, to enable that for our student? Or would that be, embedded in a different policy? It still has to be an addition,
Right,
correct?
At the
There's
very
nothing that
least.
addresses it right now.
right. Yeah, it's not.
But would they be, how would they be logging in to get that access with their student ID, not a library card ID?
Right. So on our side, it's a matter of going into the back end of databases and authorizing a range of student ID numbers
Mhm.
for them. And then the schools would just have to know that that is available and know how to log their kids in.
Okay,
So they could log in from their school into our databases
Mhm.
with their card, with their ID. Okay.
and it would be the individual student IDs?
Individual students.
Okay. The only is if it's just
Yeah.
an identifiable username, password, there's no student information, no student education information, we're not putting student names. My only concern is privacy and having information in the database and what we need to take into consideration. Does our contract with CIN, I'm assuming it would be in the CIN, would it just be the Liberty Lake library access or all of CIN databases?
It would be just the Liberty Lake ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just
We
want to
do
make
have ones
sure.
we don't share.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, and basically, the example, I don't think the example is, you know, Washington Anytime Library or CIN. So these are databases we subscribe to.
Right.
Okay, there are research databases that right now you have to come into the library to access.
You either have to come into the library to access them, or you can access them with one of our library cards at home. We're talking about making access automatic, just by having their student ID.
So would we, I guess my concern, that's where I thought you were going.
Mhm.
Then does that count, if they have access with a student ID, do we have to count them for annual report purposes in number of people that are library card holders? They're not really a library, or are we automatically saying, if you have a student ID in a CDSD school, you have access, you have a library card?
Right. They wouldn't go into our system at all. So we would not be reporting on them as library card holders. Where you would see that on our stats is in our database usage. It would just say this many sessions. And it wouldn't tell you if they were from students or from other patrons, but
Right.
we would assume that number.
So it only gives them access to the databases, it doesn't give them access to come in and say, I want XYZ book,
Right,
you know, like I can as a card holder.
correct.
Yeah, because that would have been my concern is I don't want to get into a gray area where, although I'm not against them being able to check out books with their student ID. I
Right.
just think we open a can of worms there because it's hard enough for us to understand it. How do we explain it to them and the public? I
Right.
don't want somebody saying you gave a kindergartner with a student ID access to X, Y, or Z.
Right. Yeah, it would be research databases only.
So is that, Michaela, is that like if I'm on the library website, is that the online library, all databases A to Z?
Yes,
Got it. So it's like A to Z world travel, consumer reports, Gale academic and business.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's-
Yeah, these are,
Sorry, it's mostly the Yale databases we're looking at too.
So Michaela, how far are you along with, making, it won't happen probably now because school's out, but how far along are you with, the CBSD and trying to make this happen with their schools?
This is super preliminary. I just wanted to know if it was okay with you guys. So I actually have not talked to the CDSD reps yet. I've only just started kind of gathering information on it. And I'll talk to Spokane Public Library does this with the Spokane Public Schools. So I'd like to ask them how they do that as well.
Oh, so we have someone that we can go to for.
Yeah, lots and lots of libraries provide automatic access to the libraries to all school-age children.
Okay.
I think that's good from that perspective, especially because, yeah, they can use it for research and for their papers and things like that.
Right, I think our kids should have an opportunity to do that myself. So I don't believe this also requires a vote and a motion, just yeah, Michaela, continue to work on it and bring us back some information when you have something really lined up for us to approve. Does everyone agree with that?
Yeah,
Yes.
and I think honestly, I mean, this is a really fiscally responsible decision. It means that our schools don't have to subscribe to these databases because the public library already does.
Right.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay, super. Anything that allows our kids to be more successful, I think is a good thing.
Absolutely.
All right, so we are on now to the library policy review. So Bob, was it Bob and Shauna, did you guys both submit red line versions?
Yeah, we both had submitted some information of suggested red lines.
Did you incorporate those, Michaela?
I did not incorporate both of yours. I could not find a way to get all of your things in one without disappearing.
Yeah,
Shauna?
mine was like just 5 suggestions from other libraries of here's stuff we can look at to add if we wanted to. So,
Well, Shauna, could you go over your red line versions first with us and could you refer to, I don't think I have the red line versions in front of me.
I'll get it up in just a second.
Okay, great. Thank you. Is this going to be Shauna's red line version?
Sure.
Okay.
Well,
Got it.
I can also share my screen if you prefer, either way.
That'd be fine.
Done.
Okay, so what's up is Shauna's red line version, and I'll make it bigger. Okay.
So I see we've got wireless device use. Which that must be referring to hotspots, correct? Because that's wireless.
I don't want to speak for Shauna. You're talking about hotspots, but also people's devices at the library,
They're
right?
using, like their iPad or whatever.
Got it, okay. That's good.
I had one thing I was thinking, compare mine while you're going.
Sure.
That'd be good.
I had added at the beginning of that first paragraph. I didn't know, we said that that's part of our mission at no additional cost, because we were just talking about relative to, the database access.
Yeah, I'm fine with adding it.
I think that's good.
Yeah, Bob's got a couple more in the next paragraph too.
Yeah, I think professionally, I just put a comment in there or something.
Yep.
And it showed it as
Okay.
And then Bob's, the next one is all patrons encouraged to exercise critical judgment.
I capitalized that.
Gotcha.
Okay. So you just made a grammatical change for all.
Yeah,
And so in brackets, is that in addition, Bob? See below?
that was, I just added see below because, we were getting so much, concern about access. So I wanted to just say, hey, we've addressed it. It shouldn't be something somebody only reading the first 2 paragraphs or 3 paragraphs would say, wait a minute.
Shauna, can you see that?
I can't, but I've got both open on my computer, so. I mean, we can put it, it doesn't hurt to put additional information in here. I don't think it's necessary because if they're coming to the policy, I'm gonna assume they're reading the policy, but I mean, Bob's got a good point because they don't always read the whole policy.
Right.
So I'm fine with adding.
Yeah.
See below.
Okay, I'd agree with that. All right, so we're on to the next one.
Right. And, my thoughts there were, we just, I was just adding, information about we take reasonable steps, but, it's still your responsibility. We're not responsible for anything you get, by logging into our computers with any kind of device or, your USB card, because we allow them to stick a USB card, in the computer to do printing. I was just trying to clean it up and make it, a little bit more protective of us. Especially since we provide the Wi-Fi connection for free.
No, but that looks good.
Yep, I agree.
All right.
So the others are, the media of any type.
Right.
Clients use the library computer or library provided Wi-Fi connection. Got it.
I just capitalized library.
Yeah. Okay.
So I
And
did
that's-
have a question on this.
Anything else in that section, Shauna?
I had a question on that section, and Michaela, maybe do we have filters on the devices also? Like the hotspot?
Gotcha. I checked with Todd. We do not have filters on hotspots or laptops. We would have to contact the company that we contract with to see if that's a possibility. So currently, no filters on those.
Okay, it's just and is the filter on the library computers, is that through the library Wi-Fi filtering, or is there a filter on the computers that are in the library? Like if somebody connected with their own laptop to Wi-Fi at the library, is that filtered?
It is still filtered.
Okay, so it's filtered at the Wi-Fi level, not at the computer level within the library on the library's network.
Correct.
So we may want to clarify, or we may want to get filters on the hotspots and laptops that we loan out, or we should probably clarify that that we can't filter loaned laptops or hotspots because people can do what they want with those. I think we do need to make people aware that those do not have the filters though.
Okay, well, that's probably a good idea, really, but
Yeah.
make sure people understand that if they're using it, it doesn't have a filter on it.
Well, whichever way it goes, I mean, either we set them up to be filtered,
Right,
or if they're not, then we have to add language that
it
says
says they're not.
the laptops and hotspots loaned out, you know, are not, do not incorporate filters unless they're connected to the library's Wi-Fi.
Right,
Something for that.
yeah, so how important is it to have those filters on those things? Rather than just telling the people if they're not filtered, then it's up to them to monitor their.
Right. It's kind of up to you guys. Our laptops do not check out to anybody under the age of 18 currently. So the Children Internet Protection Act doesn't necessarily apply with those. We don't check them out to kids. And then the hotspots, most of the networks that I've seen say something to the effect of like, you are still responsible for any, criminal activity, any illegal, whatever, not necessarily the library. Most libraries that I looked up examples of don't filter.
That particular, access to the internet.
I think if we just provide a warning, one, our policy is that we don't, and I don't know that we state that anywhere, that we don't loan I don't remember that we've stated that we don't loan computers out to anyone under 18.
No, I don't remember seeing that anywhere either, so we might want
And then we should, I'm fine if we just put warnings on, when we hand them out, if there's a sticker on them or a, tag or something that makes it prominent that, there are no filters on these.
Yeah, when someone checks out a hotspot or a computer, laptop, do they sign anything that they understand that they're responsible for any activity that occurs on
Yeah.
the
Not for the hotspots, but our laptop, we do have a laptop borrowing agreement that people do sign that says, here's the checkout, here's what's expected, here's what's with it, so. Yeah, we have one for laptops.
So Sean, you're saying you think it needs to be for both laptops and hotspots, correct?
I think so.
It should be in our policy, and it also should be something that they sign, acknowledging that they know that they're responsible and that our filters do not apply to those particular.
Okay, here's my question for you. The laptops are only available to people who walk in and ask for them. Our hotspots are part of the whole network. They circulate to Idaho, they circulate to us, so it's a little more money.
That is.
they don't, I mean, they circulate, but it's not like we put a 3x5 card in that says, I mean, they have to have instructions though.
Yes,
So there is something that goes with it.
there is something that goes with them.
Just think.
And then, so if we,
Oh, sorry, Sean.
I was gonna say, I think that the laptop lending, are we looking at laptop lending separate from hotspot lending? Are we trying to combine the two? If I look at the policy, the other library policies that I had copied and pasted at the end of this, they tend to go towards mobile hotspot lending as its own thing, separate from laptop computer lending. So I don't know if we want to address it as one. You have to, some of them require you to sign something if you're borrowing a hotspot. Some only lend hotspots to 18 and over also. Some there's new regulations coming out in other states about, parental consent needed if a minor is accessing, signing up for an online account. So that's not a federal law, it's just some states are enacting that. Washington is not one of them. But
So what
it's
is your
something we need to
suggestion,
consider.
Sonic, what's your suggestion? Do we need, in your opinion, do we need a separate, separate section in the policy that addresses hotspots?
Well, it depends on how we're treating them. It sounds like right now, we're limiting the laptop checkouts to 18 and over, but we're not limiting the hotspot checkouts to 18 and over. And that's just I'm okay with that. But if that's the case, then we need two separate, subsections within this policy. One that applies to laptops, because we're not treating them the same as we are hotspots. We're requiring a user, signature for the laptop loans, but not for the hotspot loans. So we just need to, I think, address those two. What we're talking about them in the same, but we need to address them in two separate sections because we are treating them differently. That's all.
Got it, Bob, what do you think?
No, since up above, we said, we added the, the wireless devices. And then down, a little further down here, I even added the, lone laptops, hotspots, go beyond, a little further.
Can we go down?
See, no, it's further down. Rules governing library computer use. There. Oop. There, see, I added that in. We either have to have it's either incorporated in this policy or it has to be a separate policy. This policy was originally written for assuming people were coming in to use the computers in the library.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Wi-Fi in the library, and it didn't really, I guess, consider us loaning out laptops or hotspots.
Correct.
So either we had to combine it with this as another section about loaned items, or we have to have a separate, or we have to look back, because in the circulation policy, we also addressed the loan items.
I think we probably need to address them separately. We can change this section to rules governing computer use in the library instead of library computer use. And then, library users are responsible for using library computers and wireless devices, and take out the loaned laptops, hotspots that you had suggested, Bob. But we could also say, and Wi-Fi connections. So wireless devices, it would say library computers, wireless devices, and Wi-Fi connections.
Right,
And
and then we
ethical-
established a separate policy for loan items.
Yes.
I agree with you.
I agree.
And then you had suggested adding deemed, if deemed necessary. And I had changed, and I think this is the one you're looking at, the rules for library computer or wireless device use may lose use privileges. I just got rid of computer, because we're not just talking about computers now. So this will now be changed. This first paragraph, I think, it would say rules governing computer use in the library. Library users are responsible for using library computers, wireless devices, and Wi-Fi connections in an ethical, legal, and considerate manner. Users who fail to follow the rules for library computer or wireless device use may lose use privileges and or be asked to leave the library. Library staff may summon law enforcement authorities if deemed necessary.
Okay, I like that.
And then we'll have a separate section on rules governing loaned devices or whatever we're gonna do.
It's either a separate section in this or it's a separate policy altogether.
Yeah.
Well, how do you want that to look? Do you want it to be a subsection of this particular policy, or do you want to make a separate policy?
No, I think yeah, I think it should be, so we have, it's kind of hard because we don't have these numbered. You know, if this is computer, internet and wireless device use policy, it's got all of these edits. This first section is rules governing computer use in the library. And then the next section is privacy, but before privacy, I think we can have, what do we want to call it? Is it
Can we have
loaned device?
loaned, aren't they technology devices?
Yeah, I think you just parallel that, you say rules governing loaned, loaned library computers and hotspots, or devices and hotspots.
I like Brad's like loaned technology devices because it contemplates we may expand this to beyond just a laptop or a hotspot.
I agree. If we started loaning iPads, that would be covered without having to change it.
Correct.
Yeah,
So I just want to make sure I capture this. You want rules governing loan library technology devices?
Yes,
Yes.
and then we'll write whatever.
Right.
Do you want to write that now, or does someone want to work on that? and bring it back?
Don't know.
so,
Oh,
so
how much do we have to include in this policy? How much, I mean, this section, anyway. Can it be said in a couple sentences, or does it need to be outlined?
I think that a lot of the stuff that's in the prior policy should apply, like they're responsible for using loaned devices in an ethical, legal, and considerate manner. Users who fail to follow the rules may lose loan privileges. And Michaela, I can put all this in and then email it to you.
Good.
And then
Great.
we wouldn't summon law enforcement because it's not use in the library, it's use
Right.
at home.
I mean, Shauna, I know you're the attorney, I'm not. But can we, is there a way to, I agree with you, like the first couple paragraphs have to be tweaked.
Yeah,
But then we could probably say, the rest of the stuff that's from
Yeah.
LLML, that all applies.
yes,
So you say in addition to what's noted above, or something to the effect where we don't have to reproduce the whole thing.
yes. And we can even have, the rules governing computer use in the library, and it's just those first two paragraphs. And then rules governing loaned library technology devices, and it's the couple paragraphs. And then rules that apply to the use of,
I love that because that applies to all of them. So we
Yeah.
just-
I do too. I think
Then we
that's,
don't have to change anything below that.
right.
yeah,
And we just have to add the two paragraphs that are specific to
Yeah.
items loan, technology items loan.
Yeah, I agree.
While we're at it then, do we want to say rules governing library technology device use in the library? Never mind, it makes more sense this one.
yeah. I think if we have the rules governing computer use in the library, rules governing loaned library technology devices, and that's those two paragraphs but tweaked. And then we have rules governing the use of all library technology that would
Yeah.
encompass in the library and loaned. And that would say that paragraph of the bulleted, LLML specifically prohibits the following activities on library, computers, internet, wireless devices, loaned technology. We need to incorporate all of those, library, computers in the library, computers owned by the, like all technology. And then we've got those bullet points.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that covers us. I like that.
Got it. So Shauna, you're gonna put that?
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
gonna put that
I'll
over? Okay,
work on that and send that off to you, to everyone.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, where are we at now on this thing?
And then Bob, you had some suggested edits to the privacy section.
Right, I had added a whole, the last at the bottom. Yeah. Somebody inserted it. Here, Sean.
Yeah, and that sentence is good.
Yeah. And then,
The library computers automatically delete history and temporary internet and cache files when users log off. And then the last sentence you suggested adding was library is not responsible for deleting history and temporary internet and cache files from patron-owned laptops, mobile phones, tablets, or other equipment that connect to the internet through the library's Wi-Fi connection.
I mean, we could simplify that by saying patron-owned technology devices.
Yeah, patron-owned technology devices.
I just want to, them, it's like a warning. I want them to be aware. I don't want somebody coming back and saying, my soon-to-be ex-wife, discovered that I was surfing stuff on your Wi-Fi.
Got it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna remove that connect to the internet to just say that it connects to the library's Wi-Fi connection.
That's good. I agree. There, good.
And then we've got, so all of the suggested like hotspot things, is it, it doesn't, I don't know that we need all of this other information. And Michaela, this is probably something that you would be more familiar, like what are we already doing with the hotspots? And
Sure. I got with Todd just to ask the questions that you guys have mentioned on the slides. So one of the things you asked was about the filters. The other thing was that you asked about like info retained by the laptops and hotspots.
Mm-hmm.
There is no info retained by the laptops and hotspots. We use PC restore reboot on the laptops, just like we do in the library. So that information gets wiped. And the hotspots, the only information that we keep is like the number of bytes used. It's all anonymous information about that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Are we okay with what we've got here now?
The one thing I did have a comment on, and this is that bulleted list of the rules, what we prohibit on the following activities. So the third bullet is viewing adult content, including sexually explicit images, instead of saying adult content, because that is a really ambiguous, up in the air, like what is adult content? Well, everything in the library that's not filed in the children's section, is that considered adult content? I mean, we know what is meant by adult content, but I would rather reference like the RCW for obscene or sexually explicit, access, view. We could say access, view, print, transmit, or distribute the RCW on obscenity and pornography is in material violation, sorry, let me start over. The RCW says, it's illegal to access, view, display, print, transmit, or distribute sites or material in violation of Washington laws regarding obscenity, child pornography, and materials harmful to minors, as specified in the Revised Code of Washington 968 and any other applicable RCW. So that was my suggestion, instead of saying adult content, just because content.
Yeah, I like that, because I had said in mine also, we should probably reference the appropriate RCW,
Yeah.
and then we're not deciding what's adult content. there.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah, no, I agree that 100%. Good change.
Okay, so I would say replace bullet point 3 with that comment. And so I've done that in my version, Michaela, that'll send to everybody. Instead of saying viewing adult content, including sexually explicit, we're just going to reference the RCW as written there.
Anything else?
Is there a problem with people watching videos or movies or anything in the library without using headphones? Is that a complaint?
It's pretty rare. It happens, but it's rare. But I looked up in our patron behavior policy,
Yeah.
one of the numbers is using audible devices without headphones or headphones set too loud.
Okay, perfect. Then we don't need to address that separately. Perfect.
If they do it, we have headphones that they can use, which we usually just offer to them. If it persists, it's like any other patron behavior, we can ask them to leave.
Yeah.
Got it.
That's good.
Good. All right. So, Shauna, are you gonna provide us with a new document to look at?
Yes.
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 Okay, great. Thank you very much for work on that. Both you and Bob, that's fantastic. I think it's a lot more up to date now and addresses current issues with technology and technology use. Okay, so that's great. We don't have any action items today. Anybody have anything else they'd like to bring up for discussion? Okay.
I don't have anything
I
else.
do, but I'll wait until everybody else has a chance to weigh in.
Shauna, did you have one?
Yep, I don't have anything else.
Okay, are you guys, I've been thinking about this, I'm okay with what we have, but are you guys okay with just postponing our July meeting? July 19th is pretty deep into the month. A lot of people are into their summer planning by that time. So we don't have anything pressing, I think. I don't think the internet policy is pressing, is it, Michaela?
No.
Okay. Would anybody be opposed to canceling the meeting in July?
I'm fine with that. I will most likely be out of town anyway for work. So
I think we can cancel a meeting. I don't think we're required. I'd have to look at the RCWs, but I don't think we're required to meet every month. Do you know, Mark?
So your bylaws allow you to establish the meeting schedule. And I don't believe your bylaws require a monthly meeting, but we can.
yeah, I was just gonna say, let me open up our bylaws.
I know we've canceled before.
Okay, I don't remember with all of this.
Yeah, no, it was quite a while ago that we canceled.
Okay, our bylaws is amended in December. State officers meetings. The board shall meet once each month at the time and place posted publicly.
Yeah. we could try, we could say we're gonna meet, but if we don't have enough to make the forum, we can't have a meeting. I'm good with July 19th. I may not be here either, so.
We might just have to do a remote meeting.
Yeah, we could do that too. We could just make it a remote meeting.
Thinking out loud, which is probably not a good idea.
Shawna, would you clarify? I thought I heard shall in that, but just confirm
To meet remotely?
that. No, in reading of the bylaws, I thought I heard the board shall meet once monthly.
Yeah, it does say shall. The board shall meet once each month at the City Hall Library or at the time and place posted publicly.
Okay, so as long as we post publicly that it's canceled, I think we're okay.
I think that's a reasonable interpretation. Because it's an or, not an and.
Right. So,
I would agree.
okay, thank you.
I'm okay going down that.
Okay, are we okay with canceling next meeting?
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I am too.
Do we want to make a motion? I move to cancel the July library board meeting.
Okay, okay, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. It is canceled, and the next meeting will be on the second Wednesday in August. I don't have my calendar in front of me, but
The August 9th.
August 9th.
So we do need to post that the July meeting is being skipped.
Right.
Kayla, can you take care of that?
Sure.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it.
We may have to, depending on what comes up based on the other discussion, we may have to have a special meeting at some point in.
Right. Got it. You're absolutely right on that one. So we'll see. We'll see. They have to they'll have to be on their agenda and their discussion.
Do we need to amend the minutes at all to state, right now it says next meeting, July 19th, 2023?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we do. So, so now we need a motion. Thank you. We need a motion to amend the minutes to next meeting.
I move that we amend the minutes that were previously approved to recognize the next meeting, the August, or the date is 9th. 1 p.m.
Second. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you, Michaela. Shawna, when you rework or put together the final document for internet use, will you include Jandy in that?
Yeah, I'll include Michaela and Janji and the
Okay,
rest of the
great.
board.
Right, great. And Michaela, you'll have a discussion with Jandy about that, maybe?
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay.
She's on maternity leave. She should
Oh,
not
come
be.
on. She probably would like to know what we're doing. Not that she has to be, well, maybe not. She's totally attentive to that little one, I'm sure. All right, I think we're done. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Enjoy
everybody.
Monday. See you in August.
Have a good day.
You too. Thanks.